evenly separated. Tuck your toes under. Lift your knees up just a little bit to begin with. Straighten your arms. And then come into your downward facing dog. So in the early morning, sometimes we can feel a little bit rusty. Please feel free to move around a little bit here. Move your bottom a little bit to the left and the right. You squeeze your arms strong. And let your neck be loose. Let your head hang. Just moving a little bit to the left and the right. And then be still. Come into a calm down dog, pushing your hands a little bit more every time you breathe towards the front of the mat, so that you can squeeze your legs as you lift up your sitting bones and gently draw your lower back a little bit more into your body. Squeeze your legs and press your heels down. And then bring your knees down to the floor. Bring your big toes to touch side by side and come into child's pose. Keep your forearms off the floor. Keep reaching forward with your hands as you bring your forehead down and breathe a little bit more consciously into the sides of your body, creating a little more length between the outside edges of your little fingers to the outside edges of your hips. So maybe even walking your hands a little bit more forward to the front of the mat and sitting a little bit more heavily down onto your heels. If your forehead doesn't touch the floor, by the way, you can put a towel or a block underneath your forehead. Very often in the morning we're that much stiffer and shrink wrapped. And then please come back into downward facing dog. So pick up your head, pick up your bottom, separate your feet, tuck your toes under and go back again. Hopefully the second one feels a little bit more easeful, a little bit more open. Nod your head a couple of times, shake your head no a couple of times so you know your neck is loose. And again, breathe consciously, not just into the sides of your body, but now a little bit more into your back. We very often are aware of the front of our body and we forget the back. So soften in between your shoulder blades as you direct your breath into your mid-back, even your lower back. And then bring your knees down to the floor and sit onto your heels. Bring your bottom over to one side. I'm just going to stretch the hips a little bit here. So scooch forward so your bottom's in the middle of your mat. Bring your back down. And then, if you've got a ponytail, take it out. Lengthen your left leg long down the mat as you pick up your right leg and interlace your hands behind the back of your right thigh. Behind your hamstrings. And press your leg into your hands and your hands back into your leg as you start to bring your leg a little straighter. Your knee may well be quite bent, that's fine. Let's see if you can bring it a little bit straighter as you push long through both of your heels. See if you can turn your left inner thigh down a bit more towards the floor. That's the leg that's on the floor, and press that left leg down as you're pressing your right leg into your hands. And then coming into eye of the needle with that right leg, bend the left leg, bring the foot to the floor, and then bend your right knee, turning it out to the side. Bring the outside of your right ankle on top of your left thigh, close to your knee, as you then pick up your left leg. Bring your right hand inside the hole you've made with your right leg and interlace your fingers behind the back of your left thigh. If your hands don't reach, then get a strap. So pause the video now, get a strap, and use it as an arm extender to put behind the back of your left thigh. And then soften your left leg, but separate the toes of your right foot as you gently draw your left leg a little bit closer towards your left shoulder, as you then soften your shoulders and soften your face. So we're opening up the right hip here, the outside of the right side of your pelvis. Maybe move your left knee a little bit more over to the left. And then release your hands, bring your left foot to the floor, and then bring your right leg all the way down the mat. Keep the poses on your left side. So pick up the left leg, interlace your fingers behind the back of your left leg, changing the dominance of your clasp to the awkward way. Press your leg into your hands into your leg as you soften your shoulders. And then press your right thigh, the leg you can't see, down into the floor as you push both of your heels away from you. And maybe draw your left leg a little closer. But don't be overly ambitious here with a stretch of the back of your leg. Please listen to the feedback that the back of your leg is giving you and be gentle. Try and keep your breathing steady and calm. And then release your hands and come back to eye of the needle. So bend the right leg, turn the left leg into that figure 4 shape. Interlace your hands again, the non-dominant clasp behind the back of your right thigh. Soften the right leg. And then gently pull your left knee, gently towards, your right knee towards your right shoulder. Again, the strap can be used to extend your arms. Breathe into your left hip. A couple more breaths here, steady and long. Slightly press your right hip away from your shoulder and the left hip away from your shoulder. So you're lengthening both sides of your lower back. Now release your hands, let your fingers slide away, bring your arms down to the floor, the right foot to the floor, the left foot to the floor. Roll over onto your side and go back to downward facing dog. So walk your hands back to the front of your mat. Tuck your toes under, lift up your knees and press back. Now you've lengthened the back of your legs. You might find that down dog is a little easier now, this third time. Now walk your hands halfway back, so you're doing a half downward facing dog. You might feel that you can press your heels down towards the floor with a little bit more success here. And then walk your hands all the way back, so you're coming to standing forward fold. Make sure that every finger is on the floor, so you might need to bend your knees. And then do bend your knees and bring your hands onto your hips and come up to standing. And then coming into tree pose, bring your 2 feet together. Bring your hands onto your hips. Turn your right knee out to the side. Bend your leg. And then grab the base of your shin as you plant the sole of your right foot into your strongly toned left inner thigh. Now, if you need a wall, please feel free to, again, stop this video and come to a wall so that you can put your left hand on the wall to steady yourself. If all's going well and you don't need a wall, take your hand away if you went to a wall and bring your arms all the way up overhead. Keep actively squeezing this right knee joint closed as you press your left leg into your foot. And then if you have got your hands overhead, bring your hands onto your hips and change sides. So take the right foot away, turn the knee forward and bring your foot down. Feet together, and then turn the left leg out. Bend the knee joint, then grab the foot, plug in, dig in the heel, dig in the toes, keep squeezing this knee joint tight and closed. Again, you might need the wall. If you do, then do that, bring your hand onto the wall. Otherwise, bring your arms up overhead and reach the branches up to the sky as you push your right foot down to make roots into the earth. Keep pressing your tailbone down towards your inner right heel and the crown of your head up towards your hands. Then bring your hands onto your hips, take your foot away, place your foot down. We're going to come into eagle pose here. So bend both of your knees and just stay like this with your legs. Bring your arms ahead of you. Bring your right arm under, crossing as high as you can up your arms and wrap. If you can't get palm to palm, then do backs of hands. If you can't do backs of hands, then grab your shoulders. Then bend your knees even more. Pick your right leg up and wrap it around your left leg. Garudasana. If you can get the tuck of your foot behind the back of your left calf, do that. Otherwise, just have your foot out in space. But whatever you're doing, squeeze strong. And perhaps bend your knees down a little bit more as you press your hands away from your face. Maybe bring your elbows a little higher. Calm, steady, poised eagle. Unravel your arms first to come out. Bring your hands onto your hips. Unravel your legs. Place your foot down. And we'll do the other side of Garudasana. Bring your arms ahead of you. Left arm under. Exaggerate this so you can get a really high twist. Bend both of your knees. Soften your shoulders as you pick up the left leg and wrap it around. Whoosh, and squeeze like rope. Knit your lower ribs in towards your body so that your abs engage, and that will help you to come a little bit lower with more steadiness. Breathe deeply as you gaze through your wrists, pressing your hands away from your face. To come out, unravel your arms, bring your hands onto your hips, unravel your left leg, and place it down. And then come back into downward facing dog. So if you need to turn, bend your knees. Place your hands and step back. We're going to do a few other simple standing poses now. So from here, bring your feet together and raise your right leg behind you for three-legged dog. Now look at your back leg and see that the toes are pointing down and that leg isn't raised too high. So your right leg is more or less parallel to the floor. And then bring your knee towards your nose and round your back. Move your chest forward over your thumbs. Now step that front foot, that right foot forward in between your hands and bring your back heel down, preparing for Warrior Two. And then come into Warrior Two. So push your right foot down, bring your left arm up. If you can, bring it up overhead as you bring that right arm up. If you need to lengthen your stance a little bit, if you feel like you can, bring the back foot back a little bit. Make sure that you can see your right big toe as you bend your knee and squeeze your back leg strong. Now we're going to come into side angle pose. So bend your right elbow for this variation. Place your forearm on your leg. Turn your back palm up and then breathe into your left lung as you bring that left arm over your head. Keep squeezing your back leg strong as you bring the right ribs under and pull your navel into your spine. And then come back to downward facing dog. So look down. Pick up your back heel as you touch down either side of your right foot and step back. When you get here, bring your feet together. Inhale as you raise your right leg behind you. Again, both heels pushing away from the center of your body. Bring your left knee towards your nose. Round your back. Step your foot in between your hands. Bring that back heel down and then again come up into Warrior Two on your left side. Again, a quick check that you can see your left toenail so that you know your knee is pointing forward. And again, maybe lengthen your stance a little bit so that you feel that your left thigh is more or less parallel to the floor. Turn your back inner thigh up towards the ceiling. And then keeping your legs as they are, again, come to side angle pose. So bend the left elbow, lightly rest your arm on your thigh, turn the back palm up, and then bring your arm over your right ear. Look up towards the ceiling if that's okay for you. Otherwise, look down if your neck is stiff. My neck's a little stiff at the moment, so I'm going to be looking down. Try not to move your head towards your computer. If anything, move your ears slightly back. We have a tendency in these poses to move the chin forward, like we do when we're looking at our phones. And then from here, come back to downward facing dog. So look down, touch down, and step back. And then I want you from here to come back to child's pose. So bring your knees down to the floor, big toes touch. Keep your hands ahead, even look at your hands so that you can really be sure that they're moving forward as you bring your forehead to the floor. Slightly squeeze your knees towards each other here. And then go back to downward facing dog. Walk both of your feet forward so that you place them in between your hands, and feel free to bend your knees here, feet about hip width apart. And then raise your chest and look forward. Now fold again to standing forward fold. Bend both of your knees and take a big step back with your left foot to the back of the mat. The heel's going to stay off the floor, and then bring your back knee down. So you're coming into a low lunge. Keep the back toes tucked under as you bring your hands onto your hips, and come up. Keep your hands on your hips. With your hands on your hips, you can press the right hip slightly down and then press your hands towards each other, towards your spine, and squeeze your bottom so you really feel like you're compacting your hips in. Then bring your left arm up. Now bring your left hand down inside your right foot. You're going to do a twist here. Turn your chest towards me, towards the camera, bringing the left lung under. Keep your hand on your hip, or bring your arm all the way up, your right arm. Now as you do this, press your front heel towards your back knee, and your back knee towards your front heel. Now you're going to keep this twist, but we're going to change the back leg. So make sure your back toes are tucked under. As you now inhale, straighten the back leg. So you're coming into a high lunge twist. Keep moving the right buttock, the front buttock, towards your back foot, and press it in. So it's like you're squeezing your two sitting bones towards each other, compacting them. And then look down and go back to downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward again. Place them in between your hands. Bend both of your knees, and then take a big step back with your right foot. Bring the back knee down. Keep the back toes tucked under. Get that action of pressing the front heel to the back knee and the back knee forward now, and try and keep that as you bring your hands onto your hips. Then bring your right arm up, maybe even back a little bit as you move the right hip point forwards. And then coming into the twist, bring your right hand down to the floor underneath your right shoulder, left arm out to the side, and then turn again, twisting towards the left. Keep pressing that front heel, the whole of the front foot towards your back knee. As you bring your navel in more towards your spine, use your abdominal strength to gently coax your right ribs under a little bit more. And then coming into the high lunge twist, as you inhale, pick up the back leg, and then continue to breathe deeply as you press the left buttock into your body and then towards your back foot. And then look down and touch down and go back to downward facing dog. Bring your knees down to the floor. Come back to child's pose, this time with your hands by your feet and your palms facing up. Now press your toes down into the floor, all the way up. We're going to come into what's called Supta Baddha Konasana. So bring your bottom down to the floor. Sit more or less in the middle of your mat and bring the soles of your feet together. And then from here, come down onto your elbows. So your knees are plopping out to the side. Come all the way down onto your back. Bring your arms down by your side. Press your elbows slightly down so you can draw your shoulder blades a little closer to each other. And let your inner thighs lengthen. If you want to close your eyes here, do, but if you feel like you're a little too sleepy and you need to be more alert to start your day, keep your eyes open, but soften your jaw and soften your entire face. Then bring your knees together and lengthen your legs long down your mat, one by one, coming into Shavasana. Now, even if you feel like you've got to go into your day, I want you please to stay here for at least 30 seconds, softening your bones. Really focus on your body here, letting all the tissues around your bones and your joints loosen and let go. When your mind gets distracted by other thoughts, keep bringing your mind back to your body, how it feels, and let it soften as you rest. Now you can stay here for as long as you want, or Bend your knees one leg at a time. Roll over onto your right side. Pause. Take stock. Notice how you feel. Notice if even the basic needs are met. Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Are you distracted? Are you feeling calm? Observing